we met, I'm Jason Robertson, city administrator.
Sam Burke.
Sam? Oh, I heard you were woman. Did we get you the state law?
Yeah, I already had that, and I also have the city law.
Oh, good. I didn't even look up the city when I had time.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see it have some teeth.
Sound ones are interesting sometimes.
The police officers told me, no, there's nothing we can really do unless it's after 10 o'clock at night. That's just unacceptable to me because I think it is illegal.
Yeah.
Unless it's used for an emergency support device, then it's fine. That's driving out of the neighborhood development.
Yeah.
Hello, here we are.
When I was up here, planning commission.
I didn't notice any changes. It's about every 2 years, I think they change.
Well, it's 7 o'clock, and so we'll call the meeting to order. We'd like to welcome everybody here for our police officers, their families. It's good to see you here in the audience. We want to excuse, or at least let you know that the mayor is joining us through virtual, through Zoom, or actually it's YouTube. Zoom. Through Zoom. He's in his office over at work, and he will be here for any tiebreakers, but he's asked me to conduct the meeting tonight. We will start we'll start the meeting by inviting Paul Larson to offer a thought or invocation. And then if I could ask Councilmember Farr, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance following that? Thank you. Paul.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful tonight for the blessings that we enjoy as citizens and residents of Brigham City. We are thankful for the country that we live in and the freedoms that we enjoy, and ask thy blessings upon us. We ask thee to bless those who are in positions of leadership, that they can make good decisions. We ask thy blessings and spirit to be with us tonight, and we so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Would everyone rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Paul and Councilmember Farr for those things. The first item on our agenda is an election of the Mayor Pro Tem for the year 2021. I'd like to nominate Tom Peterson to serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the year 2021. I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other nominations from the other council members? All right. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right. Mayor Pro Tem Peterson, the option is yours if you'd like to run the meeting today.
You're already at the driver's
Okay.
seat. Let me take it.
Thank you, sir. We have some consent items and would entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. It appears that it was in the unanimous. We'll turn some time over to, I think, Chief Nelson at this point for some police officer. I think that's at this point. For some police officer, for some promotions within the police department. Chief Nelson, if you'd like to approach the podium, and you've got the mic.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Every so often we get a chance to promote in the police department. There's lots of times where they would like that to happen much more frequently than it does, but you kind of either have to wait for somebody to retire or move on or whatever the case be to sometimes promote. But we've had the opportunity we had a sergeant position that opened up, and when a corporal made that position to sergeant, that opened up a corporal position, and so we got two positions that were able to be open. They went through some very rigorous testing procedures and oral boards, and both of the testing procedures was done different for the sergeants, and then for the corporals it was done differently there too, and we had some wonderful candidates that applied, and it was a hard decision even for the oral boards. We have oral boards from other jurisdictions that come up here and really fill out that have a lot of law enforcement experience and fill out. We had some other for the sergeant position. We had some even some city employees that were sitting on the boards and where they had to do presentations and everything, and all of them commented also how great of a police department we have and the great people that applied, and sometimes it is actually one of the hardest things you have to do, because you make one person happy, like on the corporal. I think we had 7 or 8 that applied, and so, you know, the other 6 are unhappy at you, you know, and stuff, but they don't hold a grudge very long against me, but at least I hope not. But anyway, as I've said many, many times before, our police department really is second to none in this department or in this state. And when I see the things that are happening in the nation and even in Utah this last year and everything else like that, I am so proud of these men and women that put their lives in front of anything and go toward danger where everybody else is retreating toward it or retreating away from it. So I'm very, very proud of these individuals and of the whole police department. And again, they are second to none anywhere in the nation. But at this time, we'd like to recognize, first of all, we had one of the corporals that moved up to sergeant, and so we had to take care of that one first, and so we'll do that one. Like I said, it was a rigorous process, but Ryan Hill was selected as the new sergeant, and if he'll come up with his wife, Valerie, we'll do the pinning on of his taking his corporal badge off and putting his new badge on.
I'm sure the mayor would like to see.
Actually, you come on the other side, looks like the camera's more on the other side. Like, there you go.
Yeah. You want to do the pinning on?
Hello.
If he's done good, you can jab it through him,
Like turn on the banana,
you know,
right through the shirt.
double check, make sure the vest does work, you know.
The mayor's just grinning, by the way.
And you can slip the mask down and give each other a little kiss. That's protocol. It's protocol. It is.
It's required.
And if you wanted to say a word.
I guess the chief wants me to say a word, so I'll say a little bit. It's been so far, I've been with Brigham City 13 years, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm excited what's to come. I've still got some years left, so hopefully we can make them great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sergeant.
Thank you.
And our next one, when Ryan moved up to a sergeant from a corporal, it had the corporal position open. And after that, through a rigorous selection, it went to Jevin Weeks. And we'd like to invite his wife, Michelle, to come up and pin his badge on.
Well, thanks for this opportunity. I'm excited to move forward in my career. I've experienced a lot, and I like where I'm at in narcotics, but I'm excited to move forward too. I'll and see where we go from here. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We really appreciate that. I kind of felt too, it's a special time for their spouses to be able to pin on their badge, because their spouses, these guys spend a lot of time throughout their career, not there on the holidays, birthdays, Christmases, whatever the case be, being called out in the middle of the night. And I've always told them that the most important thing is that they go home at night at the end of their shift safely. So we appreciate them too, the spouses and their families. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Let's give him another. The mayor doesn't have a mic, and so I'll just tell you that if you don't know how much the police department and Brigham City PD means to him, you've been living under a rock for a while now. So I just want to express those sentiments for him since he doesn't have a microphone in his office. Thank you, Chief Nelson. We want to recognize in the consent there were some new hires, 3 new hires. Leisha, let me get my glasses on. Leisha Dalebout, a part-time financial clerk. She's not here tonight, is she? Okay. Jenilyn Barber as a library clerk, and Tate Adams as a library page part-time. We want to recognize them and welcome them to the Brigham City Corporation family. We appreciate them and the work that they will do. We'll now move to our public comments. We'll ask that those that comment, that it is reserved to those from Brigham City, the residents, and those paying property taxes in Brigham City. Public comment is now open.
I'm Paul Roberts from Brigham City. I'll give my little annual sort of report on the Pioneer Pond since I walk around it every day. We now have a whole bunch of ducks. We've got 5 of them that are domestics, 3 giant white mallards and 2 natural but large mallards that I chased off of 6th West last year. One of them has lost a leg, and then there's 4, 2 male, 2 female, wild, more or less, that may be returnees from previous batches. We raised 13 this year, plus there's a wild diving duck that you only see about half the time, but it's iced over. The north fountain has been turned off or quit again. But the real question I have is the new building going down by the pickleball court. Why does the roof slope to the north? If it sloped to the south, the snow would melt and you could put solar panels on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam Burt from Brigham City. I'll be very brief. Christmas, my neighbors decided it'd be a good idea to give their teenage son a train horn for his pickup truck. And that's quite obnoxious. That's just my opinion. Councilman Peterson has been kind enough to send me the state law on this, and I have the city law on this. I'll just stick to that quickly. City Code, Section 1302, horn, signaling devices, etc. The sounding of any horn or signaling device on any automobile, motorcycle, or other vehicle, except as a danger warning, the creation by means of any such signaling device of any unreasonably loud or harsh sound, and the sounding of any such device for an unnecessary or unreasonable period of time. The use of horn, whistle, or other device operated by engine exhaust. That's from the city code. I contend that a train horn on a passenger vehicle is an unreasonably loud and harsh sound, and I'd like to see this council give this a little bit more teeth. I spoke to Officer Reed about this just downstairs, and the police department position from him was, well, there's not much we can do about it. So if we could give this some teeth, my suggestion would be something in the neighborhood of $100 fine for each occurrence. If he blows the horn 5 times, that's $500. I can't think of a better incentive right there. Another suggestion I would make is a fix-it ticket. If you're found to have this on your vehicle, let me say first, I think we ought to just make it illegal. Non-standard horn, against the law, it's illegal in several other states, hopefully in Utah someday too. California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania, it's illegal to put these on a passenger vehicle at all, unless they are for alarms. So I'd like to see not only a fine levied for their use, but they have to prove that they've removed it from their vehicle after they've been caught using it. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other that were submitted virtually?
No.
All right, we'll close public comment now at this time and move on to council member comments, and we'll start with Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
I don't have a whole lot to report. The legislative session starts shortly, so it ought to be getting interesting with the league and working through some of those policies that we know are coming down the pike. So right now I don't have much.
Thank you. Councilmember Olson.
I think a lot of the nation has been paying attention to the goings on in Washington, D.C. lately. I think I've kind of set myself up to have a theme in this council. I had the great fortune of taking office right before COVID hit, and there were all kinds of national chaos moments happening soon after that. And I've been preaching kindness since, and I want to restate my stance on that. I understand that there are a lot of hurt feelings on any side of the political aisle. I hesitate to say both because that would exclude anybody who doesn't affiliate with the Republican or Democratic parties. But there are some very strong feelings all across the board. You see a lot of hateful comments posted on Facebook, and you hear a lot of arguments breaking out, and a lot of people refusing to do business with so-and-so because of their political stance. And I just want to beg the people of Brigham City to be better than this. I had a friend of mine ask me the question just yesterday what I thought my vision of a healed world would look like. And I can tell you one thing, it has nothing to do with all of us thinking, feeling, or doing the same things. It has more to do with us accepting each other despite our differences. Hate begets hate, and we are not going to move toward a healed country in any way, shape, or form if we belittle each other, if we fight each other, if we cancel each other, if we call for their businesses to be destroyed or closed or vandalized. Basically, I'm just pleading with the people of Brigham City, despite any political affiliation, let's be residents of Brigham City first and not lose our humanity just because our team didn't win or did win. And that's all I have to state today. I didn't have any committee meetings or anything that I needed to be at. So,
thank you. Councilmember Farr.
Thank you. At this time, I didn't have any committee meetings thus far this month, so I don't have anything to add.
Councilmember Troxel.
I did not have any any committee meetings also, probably due from the holidays. I do want to say, first of all, congratulations, Tom. Very excited. I know you'll do a great job. I posted right before Christmas when we had our first snowstorm on Facebook about that day. And ever since then, I have honestly kept an eye out almost every day when I'm out. And I can honestly say that I can't go 2 or 3 blocks without noticing something great about our city, great about our employees, great about the streets, and all the intricate details that go into this ebb and flow that Brigham City is. That day we had the snowstorm, the electricity went out. They were trying to plow snow double time. My daughter calls me and says that the fire department's out in front. She's at home with her 3 little kids, and they're shoveling her snowway, her walkway. I knew the electricity was going to be back on within 10 minutes, and it was, because that's what it's been like for 50 years living here in Brigham City. I used to work at Brigham City Hospital and work as an EMT, and so know a lot of people through the EMT and our public safety services, and they're amazing. We had the need to call them again today for my granddaughter. It was once again another wonderful experience where I did not have to worry about the care that she was going to be in. I want to thank our public safety officers so much. Right before the meeting, we were notified that an officer from our Capitol building has died of his injuries. And it's just not right. No one should ever have to lose their life because of a political opinion. Ever. We are better than this. And I know Brigham City is better than this. And they've shown it many times throughout the last year, and I know that they'll continue to do that throughout the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything. It's one of the things I like coming off of the holidays is that we're spending time with our families instead of apart. So the mayor doesn't have a mic. I know he'd have something to say. Do you have anything? Is there a way for you to speak, Mayor?
Councilmember Bott, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Well, thank you. Council members, I appreciate you taking care of this meeting tonight. My wife is ill, and so we're just taking precautions to make sure that if there's any issues, it doesn't spread. And so that's why I'm away tonight. Councilmember Troxel, I had not heard this. Along with you, that breaks my heart. As I look at our nation, Councilmember Olson, I agree. The violence that goes on and the things that are going on are not right. And we need to accept and love one another for who we are, and not everybody should be able to have their own agenda or their own right to believe in whatever they want to believe in, whether it be religion or whether it be political issues or other things. And Councilmember Troxel, you are correct. We are better than that. And we owe it to everybody to allow them to have their own opinion and their own way of life and the things that they want to do. And we should be respectful of them and love them for who they are. And so I completely agree with that. We are very blessed to live where we live. Brigham City is a wonderful place. I'm so proud of our citizens and the love that they have one for another. We live in the greatest city in the country, and we are truly blessed to have great employees, great law enforcement and emergency services, and we're just great. We're just blessed greatly to have the citizens that we have and the closeness that we enjoy in this town. Does that mean that our city's perfect? No, there are things that we can all work on. But I just appreciate the loving community that we live in and the supporting community that we live in. We are very blessed. So anyway, Councilmember Bott, you're correct. I'm very proud of our officers. 2 fine officers received promotions today, and they'll do great. They'll do great. They're great officers, and I'm very proud of our law enforcement. What a great group of folks to protect us, and I appreciate them. But I'd just like to let our citizens know how much I appreciate them. I give our citizens a challenge at Christmas time, and I hope they, and that was to be nice to someone new every day. And I took that challenge upon myself as well. And the joy that it brings by just being nice, as you see somebody who may look like they're struggling, and just a friendly smile or a friendly comment goes a long way. With the things that are going on politically in our nation and with COVID, it's a very hard time for everybody. And there are a lot of folks who feel alone. And we all need to know that we're not alone, that we're all in this together, and that we'll get through this and we will survive. But we just have to have faith and realize that things will get better. So I appreciate you, council members. Thanks for your support. I appreciate your dedication to the city. You're a great group of folks, and I'm grateful to be associated with you. So thank you so much, Councilmember Bach.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize. I didn't realize you had a mic there. Otherwise, I would have given you the opportunity while the police were here so they could hear that. So I apologize.
Well, that's okay, because, you know, this is all new experience for me, too. I'm on my phone, and so I spent a little while with Royce trying to figure out how to make all this work, but I think I've got it figured out. So I will mute myself now. Thank you.
We'll move on to our action items now. Thank you, council members, for your comments. Our first action item is a consideration of a preliminary plat approval of Watercrest subdivision located at 500 West and 1325 North. And we have with us Mr. Mark Bradley, and we'll turn the time over to him for a presentation.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is a preliminary subdivision plat from Sierra Homes called Watercrest Subdivision, located north of the old golf course and east of the North 40 subdivision. And so here is the zoning map that shows the project area. And here is an aerial parcel map. And then just a Google map so you can see the area a little more. And then here is the preliminary plat before you. There are 89 single-family lots and 4 phases that are being proposed. The primary access into the subdivision will be off of 500 West at 1325 North. And it's an exciting project. There's been a lot of the market's been pushing for a lot of multifamily, and there's still need for a lot of single family. And this is a project that Sierra Homes is bringing to the community. Naturally, they've built some there in the North 40. The Planning Commission considered the application on December 15th. There's a number of staff review comments that need to be addressed. They recommend to the City Council with unanimous a recommendation approval subject to addressing the staff comments, referencing the staff stipulations, and noted the findings of fact as outlined in the staff evaluation, and stipulated that phase 2 must have a plan for a second access before it proceeds. And so the challenge that the subdivision presents itself is they are showing they've done a great job working with the city and trying to provide the connectivity that will, with the adjacent properties. The secondary access at this point would tie into the Visionary Home project. But one of the challenges that it provides is that is on the tail end of their project, where phase 1 for the Watercrest is on the west side. And so the timing will need to be coordinated, or they'll need to look at a secondary access going up to 1500 North through a remainder parcel that they have. But a portion of that property is owned by the Olsons that are currently unannexed or in the unincorporated area of Brigham City. But there are ways to address it. And so it's, anyway, that's the preliminary plat before you tonight for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is the pond part of phase 1 or phase 3?
The pond that's an excellent question. It will need to be built with the development. But as far as the timing of that, I don't have the exact answer. Right now, what's being looked at is that they would actually build the pond. I believe at least a phase of the pond would need to be prepared with phase 1. And then it would actually be turned over to the city, and it would almost serve more like a regional storm detention for that site. The city engineer has provided some additional comments there, but that's an excellent question, but it will need to be used as part of phase 1.
I got a question. Councilmember Bach, and maybe to Mark. As I look at this, I look at lot 40. If phase 2 builds out before the other subdivision is finished, how will lot 40 be accessed?
Right. That's where phase 2, that's part of the discussion we've had with the applicants, is that they really need to analyze and have a little more communication with Visionary Homes. If they need to use this as their secondary access, they may need to enter into some kind of an agreement with Visionary Homes to build that portion of the roadway and be reimbursed by them in order for lot 40 to be able to front a dedicated roadway. If that timing doesn't work out, the boundary and adjustment would need to take a different route with phase 2. And there was quite a bit of discussion whether phase 3 and 2 needs to be modified a little bit. Just depends what they work out. Jessica Prestwich is the project manager for Sierra Homes, and she was invited to join the meeting tonight.
Mark, she is on. Would you like me to
Is
promote
she?
her?
Good. I didn't see the name. Yes. Let's see if there's any update from Sierra Homes, if that would be appropriate. Council members?
Please, I think that would be helpful, possibly.
Okay.
She's here, unmiked.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
So Jessica, what we were talking about is the second access. And when the Councilmember Peterson asked about lot 40 and how that would work with phase 2 if Visionary Homes is not built out to that point yet. And I was giving him a little update on the discussion that we had with the Planning Commission. And if you have any status update for the City Council on some considerations for secondary access or any discussion with Visionary Homes.
Yeah, we have talked to them and they're a little further down the road than we are. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to adjust the phases where phase 2 will be where phase 3 is. And then our secondary access will more than likely go out to 1500. But we're also trying to work with the Olsons on this. So we're figuring this out. But Visionary, unfortunately, is a little further down the road than us. So.
Thank you. I know that was a concern that the Planning Commission, again, the staff and Planning Commission is very supportive of the project. There were just a few of these items that will need to be worked out as we move forward. Any other questions?
One more question. Yeah, sorry, Mark. As I looked at the staff comments, I have a growing concern that as a city we sometimes put too much restriction or give too much direction on development. And I just wondered on comment number 5, we talk about their fencing and how it should look uniform. It's my understanding that the contract, these will be individual lots. Sierra will probably be building them, but the lots will be sold to individual people, correct?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for, go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, I was going to say that's correct. There'll be individual lots with just residential homes on them. So that'll be an individual. The fencing will be left to the homeowner.
Okay. And then the other concern that sort of along those same lines is in number 16, we encourage the construction of several variety house plan options. I'm assuming we didn't require anything there. It's just a sort of a recommendation. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's an encouraged recommendation. We actually heard from when this property was coming in for an annexation, not that it has any merit or there, you know, there was no development agreement or anything like that, but as during the public hearing process at the planning commission level, the comment that was made was the later phases of North 40 were very similar, a lot of similar style buildings. So, and having a variety of models and styles, it creates more of a different neighborhood community rather than just trying to have a different color door so you know which house is yours type of thing. And so that's what we're just following through with comments that have been made there and trying to encourage that is an option. Going back really quick on the fencing. So it's just really regarding the rest of the fence throughout the subdivision is really up to the owners. It'd be more of down here with lot 41 through 43 because it abuts to the and is adjacent to common area with the planned development, and it's a back of a lot. It almost creates a triple frontage and a double fronting lot, but because there is some landscape that will be provided as part of the Visionary Home project, that was the fencing for those 3 lots that was being asked to be provided, so there'd be uniform look there with that, rather than a mixed nature of fencing. Phase 5 across the street, originally there was discussion of putting fence along the power station there so that it would be managed. And then the city we decided to hold back off and allow the property owners to do it. And it's been a challenge as far as if the fence would have gone in, then there wouldn't have been a lot of issues as far as accusations with sloughing off of the city property into the backyards or where their fence is, concerns with vehicles going in and out for service, and those fences haven't gone in yet. And that's an example of 3 or 4 lots that it would have been the best thing to have that fence in initially. But this was more dealing with because it's the layout of the location with the subdivision itself. But if the council feels that is overbearing with that requirement, that can be part of your consideration.
I guess the question I might have, Mark, on that is where Visionary is putting in the common area, is it the duty of Sierra Homes to put that fence in, or is it the duty of Visionary?
You could look at it either way. I mean, they could put up a fence if they were concerned. Right now, I don't believe, going back, there was so many more details involved in that overall planned unit development that there wasn't really any discussion as far as what that would take place up in this area.
Okay.
Seems like those 3 lots, there would be a good service for the neighborhood if it looked more like, I remember a bad wallpaper or good wallpaper will make those seams so you can't see where the seams are, but a bad wallpaper will make it so that the pattern is off. Seems like the 2 developers could meet and come up with something that would gel there, so that to make sure that there was some cohesiveness to the look, rather than just, okay, here's where one development ends, this is where the other one starts.
Right, and we've been in contact. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, if you own that lot, you may not want a fence because you have more open, like living next to a golf course.
Right.
Yeah.
Much smaller. Anyway, those are the only 2 questions.
And I'm sure you're talking about it, and I'm sure you'll make that happen. Any other questions or comments, council? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat for Watercrest subdivision located at 500 West, 1325 North.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or concerns? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We'll move on to number 2, action item 2, which is a consideration of resolution adopting museum imaging fees. And is Elena with us?
Yes, hi. Thank you,
We'll
Mayor.
turn the time over to you now.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This proposal would create a standard policy form and fee chart for the use of museum collections for research and publication. The main reason for this change is for internal tracking purposes. We'll be able to more easily track where and how our images are being used and better answer questions from people who've seen our images being used out in the community. Most requests we get are from local small businesses and individuals, and those will still be free as a part of our mission to provide historic resources to the community. But it does introduce a fee for larger requests in recognition of the time and resources it takes for us to meet them. We do get occasional requests for use in publications distributed for profit, so this resolution provides a standard usage fee schedule and legal language for that. We also expect an increase in the number of researchers from outside of our community who can find and request use of our collections as part of an upcoming upgrade we're making to our online collections access. These types of fee schedule and agreements are commonplace at museums. I based this resolution on previous similar policies I've developed while also maintaining the dedication of Brigham City to provide historic resources to its citizens and neighbors. Any questions on that?
Seems like a no-brainer, Council, but if you have any questions, we'll entertain them.
No, Mayor Bott.
Whoa.
Oh, excuse me. Councilmember Bott, thanks for the clarification. I would move that we approve the resolution adopting the museum imaging fees as outlined in our packet.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We need a roll call.
We need a roll call on this. Thank you. We'll start with Councilmember Troxel.
Robbins and I.
Tom's aye.
Joe's aye.
Alden's and I.
And DJ's and I. Thank you. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you.
We'll move on to our action item number 2, a consideration of a water purchase agreement between Staker Parsons and Brigham City. We'll invite Tyler Pugsley to the podium to present.
Mayor and Council, thanks for letting us come before you tonight to talk about this water purchase agreement between Brigham City and Staker Parson Company. I'd like to start out by just giving a little bit of a background and the reasons why these conversations come about, just so you guys have an understanding where we're coming from. So we were approached by Staker Parsons and asked if we'd be willing to sell them some irrigation water. Well, at first it was culinary water, but then it evolved to irrigation water out of the Mayor's Pond. So they produce state spec sand at their pit here at the mouth of the canyon. To produce the type of sand that the state requires to use on UDOT projects, and that other people also require to on various projects, the pit itself could not produce this sand without some water being involved as part of their operations. Recently, they have been taking their state spec sand orders out of the old 5 pit above 6 East, which they own and operate at this time as well. And so their hopes was that they could produce a product at the pit here at the mouth of the canyon so they could reduce some of the truck traffic, which we've experienced some concerns about through other parts of our city. So at that time, city staff got together with our engineers to have them kind of come up with a evaluation on this, on what it would actually mean to the city, and if this was something that was possible for us to provide at the Mayor's Pond location. And following the analysis, engineering analysis and study that was completed by our engineers, staff, felt comfortable that this is something that we could do for them at the Mayor's Pond location, and they could provide this product to their customers and provide product out of their pit. It's important to recognize that Staker Parsons has used water out of the Mayor's Pond for several years. They've pumped water out of there. They are wanting to do so now at a larger scale. They want to actually pull 464 acre feet of water out of the location throughout the course of the year to produce a state spec sand. So we worked with Mike Christiansen, our city engineer, our city attorney, put together an agreement with some staff input as well, and working with Staker Parsons to bring before you tonight that outlines how this water would be, how the maintenance would take place, some provisions in there, knowing that it is irrigation. We have some other obligations with the irrigators that are our number one priority here in town. And also the engineers help do an evaluation throughout other areas in northern Utah and how much this water could be sold for. And we determined that the rate should be the same rate as our culinary water rate for them to, which is $1.36 per 1,000 gallons to produce this water at this location. There's several things that talk about maintenance and outlines what Parsons would be responsible for maintenance-wise at the location, which actually also is really good for the city as far as some upkeep and different things that go on at the Mayor's Pond. But with that being said, if anyone has any questions about the agreement in front of you tonight, I'd be happy to answer them, as well as Mike's here too to offer any advice that he has.
Is there 464 acre feet of water that's unclaimed going through there?
So currently we provide the irrigators with 6,300 acre feet of water for all the irrigation companies in our community, and that's our number one obligation and priority. We do have another 2,500 acre feet of water that we have shares in Pineview Irrigation, and we have been working with the irrigators this last year and this year as well. So the city's priority is to use all of our Pineview shares first to help satisfy that 6,333 acre feet that we provide to the irrigators. And so with that water being used for the irrigators and with the amount that's being generated off of the power and also to supplement the irrigators, the additional amount, we do have that much water that we feel like at this time could be sold to Staker Parsons companies. At some point in the future, if we develop a secondary irrigation system throughout our community, we will have to sit back and readdress this agreement. This agreement initial term is 5-year term of the agreement, and we would have to sit back and see how we want to handle this, for some further evaluation to see what actually we'd have available at that time. One of the pros for us on the staff thinking that this was a good idea for us to provide them water, if we determined that we were unable to do so, then Staker Parsons Company could possibly exercise some other options, and they could apply for a well in the area, which if was approved, then that would be more or less outside of our control. And we have lots of other well sources throughout the area that we do our aquifer recovery and storage injection with during the winter months. And so there is some concerns on our end. If another well was developed in the area, we would obviously protest it, but that would still be up to the state on whether they approve that or not. And more likely, it probably would be approved. So we just felt like that this was by far the best option for the city to be able to work with Parsons on this, to protect our culinary drinking water source.
You brought up the recharging of the wells in the wintertime. Will this affect that in any way?
No, it won't. Because we're using culinary water for our injection, and there's no irrigation through the winter months that is taking place. So all the water for power generation that can be applied to this. And just an important to note, one of the things as part of the study that we had our engineers do if they were pulling the full amount that they're requesting, it would take us approximately 45 minutes of full generation through the day to be able to replenish that water to the Mayor's Pond.
So I notice sometimes in the summer when we're irrigating, the pond's empty and the riverbed's dry.
Yes.
I'm just curious where that water would come from in that instance, because usually that's when we're generating power. That's when we're.
Yeah, and you probably noticed, I mean, it's been like that the last several years. Dave has done an excellent job. So he tries to work with the pond levels and stuff so we can satisfy our peaking demand and needs as far as power goes in our city. So that's why you see the pond go at lower levels. You probably didn't notice that quite as much this last year because we were working with the irrigators on pulling more of our Pine View shares this last year than other years.
So it's available.
Yes. At this time, absolutely.
So
Unless there's a drought.
I was going to say, I noticed there's provisions in there for drought and other things that we can withdraw that water back to ourselves.
Yep.
And how solid is the Pine View shares as far as the drought goes?
So our obligation with Pine View, they've committed already to that amount of water. So any time there's a drought or anything else, that shares that they're already obligated to provide that we pay for every year. So I have not seen a time. So before the pressurized irrigation to the golf course was installed, the golf course was always watered straight with Pine View water. And I don't know at any time where we had to cut back on the golf course because of Pine View not being able to provide the water to us.
Any other questions or comments, council? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion that we approve the water purchase agreement between Staker Parsons and Brigham City.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All right, this is a roll call vote. We'll start with Councilmember Farr.
Alden's and I.
Robbins and I.
DJ's and I.
Tom's I.
Bill's I.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, we need a motion to adjourn to redevelopment agency.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We need the approval of the November 19th, 2020 minutes.
So moved.
And seconded.
We have all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are considering a resolution designating a survey area, authorizing the preparation of a draft community reinvestment project area plan and budget. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And authorizing and directing all necessary action by the agency, staff, and legal counsel. And we'll invite Paul Larson to lead the presentation.
Thank you. So this is just a little background. A community reinvestment area, excuse me, is essentially the latest morph of a redevelopment area or economic development area. It's essentially the same thing, but now they're called community reinvestment areas. And rather than a taxing entity committee approval of a budget, tax increment is authorized through interlocal agreements with each of the taxing entities. Very similar to the interlocal agreements we just did on the 1100 South CDA. So with that in mind, we have been working with a company for a couple of months now that is looking at a location here in Brigham City. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if that's okay, to kind of give you, I know the drawing that's in the packet is maybe a little hard to see, but the property in question is the Nucor property where Bullcraft is located. If you can see this on the screen, I-15 is over here, 900 North or State Road 13 is here, and this is Watery Lane. So Nucor owns this parcel, which is about 222 acres. The company that we're working with is a company that's been acquired by Nucor and is part of the Nucor family of companies. They are looking at expanding into the Western market. The other location that they're considering is Kingman, Arizona, and it's another site similar to this that has an existing Nucor facility but has enough property to accommodate this new project. In order to help facilitate investment, local support or incentive for this company, we are looking at the creation of a project area that would enable us to receive tax increment to put into the project. And that process is initiated by the redevelopment agency adopting a resolution saying we go ahead and create a project area plan and schedule all of the necessary work to come back at a later date and hold a hearing and adopt the project area plan, which would then create the project area. It's very likely that the actual, well, it's a little bit in flux. We've had a number of calls with the company and with our team members, and we're debating what the best approach is, whether keeping the entire Nucor property as the project area is the best approach, or whether the best approach for the final boundary would be just the site for the Project Tiger, which is the code name for that project itself. When we come back to the agency with the final project area plan, that will be resolved and we'll have the actual legal description. You can designate a larger area in the survey resolution than you would include in the final project area plan. So taking this action tonight would get that process started and give us the latitude to come back with all those details. We've also been working with the company, connecting them with the state. There are a number of state incentives that we're looking at with this company, and I think you'll find this would be an excellent company to have here in Brigham City. The projection is between 50 and 65 jobs. The average salaries are in the range of $70,000 to $75,000 a year. And the bulk of the employees would be hired from the existing community. There would be a few, maybe 10% or so that would be relocated from other locations to get the plant up and running. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those if I can. And otherwise, this resolution is ready for your action.
Council, any questions or comments?
I have a question. I asked Paul this already, but maybe he can explain it a little better for me. I asked him through email. I have a little bit of concern, not with the company and not with the project. I think it sounds like a great thing, but my concern lies with, I'm assuming this is similar to an EDA.
Yeah.
Which I believe the school district has sort of said they're not willing to entertain anymore. Is that true?
I think in our discussions with the school district, what they're saying is they have a draft policy that they're proposing. They're saying that they will support economic development, but that there are some parameters that they want to put on projects. We're analyzing right now, excuse me, what we think the tax increment generation would be. We've asked the company to provide us with some numbers of the financial gap that would need to be closed in order to make this site their choice. And with that number in hand, then we can go to the school district and present that to them and show them why we would need a particular level of tax increment. We don't know exactly what that is right now. We have included the school district on at least one call with the company and with some other folks. They've been pretty, I think they've been, so far, have indicated support for this project. So we'll just have to see how that goes. In general, they've said that they don't want to participate at more than 60% of tax increment to be paid to the agency, and they don't want to go a period longer than 15 years. And so we just need to run those numbers once we have them from the company to see if the available tax increment with that kind of a restriction would be enough to meet the need. My guess is that it probably will be. There's not really a lot that needs to be done to make this site ready. There aren't new streets that have to be built. There's an access drive that will need to be put in and some utility extensions and some things like that. But compared to some of the projects we work on, this is going to be a little less of a cost. The total capital investment, estimated capital investment of the project is about $25 million. Excuse me, the building would be about 125,000 square feet. And so it's a good solid amount of capital investment by the company, and we expect that it'll generate a fair amount of increment that can be put back into the project.
Yeah. And if I can speak just a little bit, I've been involved with the discussions with Paul talking to the school district. Their draft policy does have a lot of language on things they would consider, is how a lot of that is. If you look at the heading, it says things we will consider, and then it says things like 60% of tax increment. I don't think, how I've seen their policy written so far, it would preclude the board from taking any action that they wanted to take for the most part. And what they're really trying to focus on is making sure they're going to get enough tax increment to pay for the number of students that are coming, that they think will be generated by the new jobs that come to an area. And there's ways to do those calculations.
That's another analysis that we're working on is, and we don't have the final estimates yet, but we're working with the district to estimate how many students, with new students, not existing, but new students would be generated by this project. And that will allow the district to analyze how much funding they need coming in to meet the new demand. Our initial indication is, in my opinion, it's probably in the range of about $8,700 a year that they would need to meet the new student generation.
Yeah, and we'll need to work through that. That being said, we've been working with obviously the management side of the school district. This hasn't been brought to the school board yet, just they really haven't had time to bring this before the school board, because as we know, these economic development deals come very quickly, and you need the information to come very quickly if you want to have any chance to get them to happen. And so we've been working with management there, and they've expressed positivity to bring that forward to the school board and get their vote and see how they feel about it.
We feel really good about this project. Sorry.
The project didn't come.
Go ahead, Tom.
I just said I'm just curious what that 40% that they would get if the project didn't come looks like.
And we can definitely show you those numbers when we come forward with the budget. We will have all, well, yeah, if it doesn't come, the 40% will look like $0. That's for sure. And what's good is, and I think it's good the school district's doing this, so, because they're saying, we want you to spell out what the benefit to the school district is. My guess is when we spell out the benefit to the school district is you can have a lot of money or have nothing. So it makes our argument a lot better for the school district. And I think I applaud them for wanting to do this analysis and look at it that way, because I think that's great for us to make transparent for everybody.
Yeah. There's our sense is, and in discussion with the company, we really believe this is our project to lose. We have a lot of advantages here. We've already got 3 Newport facilities in the county, 2 of those in Brigham City. They know our workforce, they know our capabilities, our utilities, all of that. And frankly, an ace in the hole that we have is that we're not Kingman, Arizona. If you've ever been to Kingman, you'll know where the Nucor folks would prefer to work. Maybe this time of year it's better down there, but not in the summer.
My question is, this land has not ever been part of any other economic development area?
No.
This is a new?
Yeah, it's been owned by Nucor for as long as Volcraft has been there. They do have, it's a little hard to see on the photo, but down in this area, they did install a small solar farm so that they generate some electricity. But other than that, and then up here, they do some product storage for Volcraft. But otherwise, it's vacant land that they've really held in reserve for a project like this.
And we don't have any other tax increment agreements with Nucor at all? Right now?
We have the Nucor building systems over here. We have, I think, another 3 years left, 3 or 4 years left on the project area there. But it's a separate project area on a separate property. And the way things work within Nucor, each of these is a separate entity. So Volcraft, Nucor Building Systems, Nucor Steel, this company that's Project Tiger, they're all separate business entities, but they're all within the Nucor family.
Good question. Anything else, council? I know Nucor's and Volcraft has been a good corporate citizen in our community as well. They've stepped up for a lot of things.
Yeah, they're excellent.
I have one more question, or maybe point of clarification. When I read this title, I don't really even understand what you're asking for, Paul. Maybe you can understand what the resolution that we're looking at does.
It basically says here is an area, here's a geographical boundary within which you as staff are authorized to go and prepare a project area plan and do all of the notices and prepare materials to come back for a hearing to actually establish a project area. So that's really what it is the authorization to start that process. It's something, it's to some degree, it's boilerplate. It's required by state code that we adopt a resolution like this before we can go forward with creating the project area.
So it's not the approval of the area, it's just the approval, it's designating funding to go to do the work to present it.
Yeah, in fact, we had a really good call today with the company and with our consulting team, and the thought was, you know, if we will get a decision from the company. If that decision is they want to come here, then we would come to you with the creation of the project area. If they say we're going to Kingman, then you wouldn't see this come back to action again.
Well, if it's not too fast, I move that we approve the resolution designating a survey area, authorizing the preparation of a draft community reinvestment project area plan and budget, and authorizing directing all necessary action by the agency staff and legal counsel.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
It's a roll call?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll start with Councilmember Olson.
Joe's aye.
Alden's an aye.
Robbins and I.
DJ's an aye.
Tom's aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a closed session? Okay. We need a motion to go back. Do we need to go back into regular session and then go into?
Yes, and then when we go to closed session, we need a roll call.
Okay.
Make the motion to go back into regular session.
Second.
All approved? All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Make a motion to go into a closed session.
Mr. Roll call, we'll start with you, Councilmember Peterson.
Tom's eye.
Joe's aye.
Halder's an aye.
Robin's aye. Did we have a second on that? I'm sorry.
Was there a second?
Second it.
Joe, Councilmember Olson's the second on that. All right, thank you everybody for participating virtually and those who've been in our audience. We appreciate you being here. We're now going to adjourn to closed session.
We'll turn the. Yeah. Yeah, we'll turn it over to the right people.
Thank you, Councilmember Bott. Thank you, council members. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
Thanks, Mayor. Look
I
forward
will
to
be
sitting
joining you in
next to you,
closed session.
sharing my
You guys
jerky.
got this.
Are you going to try and stay on, Mayor, for the closed
No,
session, or are you headed?
No, I know what you're going to talk about. You guys will be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.